Okay, so let me go over some of the general controls. WASD is obviously to move around. You turn with your mouse. With Q and E you can lean, which doesn't hugely have a use. Use X to sit down, Z to lay down and go prone. So if you encounter a bandit and they say get down, hands up, you press X to get down, C is to stand up, but okay, so X to sit down, and you can use F1 to put a hand up, or F2 is both your hands up. Okay, so to go into your inventory, you press the tab button. This is your inventory. To put things onto your character, you just drag them from your vicinity onto your character and it will automatically equip it. And then you have your slots where you can move things around. You only start with some trousers with 4 slots, so you need to get gear with more pockets to be able to carry more stuff. Each item has a condition on it, such as pristine or worn, badly damaged, so you have to aim for having full pristine gear. I believe if it becomes badly damaged, stuff can fall out of your bags and stuff, which obviously isn't great. I personally go for the kind of like camo gear, but it's completely up to you what you want to wear. You use the right mouse button to zoom in, and the left mouse button is to interact. So with my axe, left swings, right zooms. To interact with your hotbar, you press tab, you drag things out and they disappear. You can put things into your hotbar by simply dragging them into your hotbar like this. And then you press the number buttons to interact with the things in your hotbar. With guns such as the M4, you can see by my shadow I have it out, but I can't really shoot it this way, so you press spacebar to lift up your weapon, and then you press 0 to look into the scope. Mine is damaged, so that's why it's all cracked. So yes, you have to remember, spacebar lowers and then raises your weapon. And it's important if you switch to melee, such as like this, it means your axe is going to be raised and you can't hit properly. So remember to lower your axe like this. To talk to other players, you can press the caps lock button and you see the little microphone icon comes up. You can double tap to have it constantly on. So in, say, like a hostage situation, that may be useful to have it constantly on, to constantly talk. To jump or climb over things such as fences, you can use the V button, which makes you step over. If you're sprinting, and press V, and if you do it correctly, you jump. So it takes a bit of getting used to, but it's useful in a situation where you're running away, where you can jump over fences and get away quicker. You see here in my inventory there is a bar here saying thirsty. That means obviously my player's thirsty, that's pretty clear. And it will occasionally say I need a drink in the chat. If this gets down to red, that means essentially you're going to get sick and die, so you have to make sure you constantly drink. Although currently I have no water. And you can eat food if it says hungry. For faster running, you can raise your fists, which can be used to melee fight. This isn't hugely useful, but if you run with your fists in front of you, you run even faster than if you didn't. It doesn't really look like a notable difference, but if you run alongside a friend and they have their fist down, you have yours up, you run considerably faster. Also, there is a trick where you can look down, press the double tap for run, alt, and then you can look up and look around while you're running. So for general tips, I suggest you constantly watch around for other players. If you press P, it brings up the player list. You should always interact with bandits, as in, if a bandit tells you to do something, you should do it, because if you just run away, they will most likely shoot you. Okay, so on gathering items, this is the starter town of Kamishovo. It's one of the starter areas. For gathering gear, you need to gather, say, food, water, weapons. So you can look in buildings, and F is an interact button, so you can use F to open the gate, open the door. You can use it to like reload and loot things. So for instance, here's a book which I can pick up. I can press F to pick up the book, and then it's automatically in my inventory. And if I want to get it out of my inventory, I can just drag it out. Gone. There's a hacksaw there. Get back out. So in general for looting, just search all the buildings. If the doors are open, you should ignore them because that means someone else has already been there. And the starter towns generally don't have too much stuff, so you should go to a city and just search the buildings for gear. Military bases, such as at Kamenka, Bolota, near Zelengorsk and Kabanina, they have really good stuff, so that's really good to go there. Just eat. And for gathering gear, when you don't have very much inventory space, you have to make calls on what you need. It's always good to have a fire axe. That's probably the best melee weapon you can have. And obviously you want to get guns and store ammo as much as possible. The ammo comes in these rounds, and you have to make sure the type, such as 5.56mm, is the right type for your gun. A FNX pistol takes, I think it's .357 caliber bullets, and an M4 takes the 5.56. There is a 7.61mm ammo, which is for the Mosin, which is a rifle, but personally I don't really use that very much. On guns, pistols are useful if maybe you're dealing with some hostages and you just want to get over with quickly without wasting your ammo, or they are good for, obviously, if you run out of ammo or something. M4 is good for like close fights, they spray bullets very fast. The Mosin is better for long distance fights and sniping. So if you want to, say, be a bandit sniper, it's good to have a Mosin. Areas where you find guns, you generally find M4s in military bases and up in the airfields, and Mosins you can find in Novi Soba and Stary Soba. You need to get better shirts and trousers and things to get more inventory slots, and it's always good to pick up a bag with the maximum amount of slots. I personally go for the hunting backpack, which isn't the largest bag, but it is camouflaged, so if I want to hide, people may miss me. So where should you go? There are only a few spawning points, which are generally on the coast. There's Kamishovo, which is this town here. You can spawn up in Benazina, which is a big city, and then just generally anywhere between. And then there's a rare spawn in Novi Soba, so if you spawn in and there's no coastline, you're most likely going to be in Novi Soba, which is a very good spawn point. And then from these points, if you spawn in Novi Soba, you should head across to Steri Soba. You can look at maps to get across. To get out of the game while you're in game, you can press Alt and Tab at the same time, which will exit you out of the game, but make sure you're in a safe place because you'll be standing AFK, and obviously people can easily kill you if you're doing that, and zombies can easily kill you. So if you spawn in Novi Soba, head to Steri Soba, just gather general gear, and then head across to the military base below Cabanina, and that's a very good setup point to head up to Northwest Airfield to gather more gear, but be very careful of bandits up there. If you spawn in Kamishovo, you can head across to Electro to gather gear, although I find Electro is usually filled with bandits. A good place to head, I would say, would be head up along the coast this way, up towards Benazina, because Benazina is usually a bit quieter, and then over to the northeast airfield, and then head west to the northwest airfield. Once you have gathered all your gear, I suggest you go down to the southwest coast, and I generally run around the coast trying to interact with players. Let me try it first. Okay, so when fighting zombies, they will only chase you when you're in their line of sight. Currently I'm not, I'm behind. So I suggest you get out your fire axe, sneak up behind, and you aim for the left shoulder close enough, such as here, and it should kill them in one hit. Obviously I missed that first one. Let's see if we can find another one. Okay, so if you get attacked by a person or attacked by a zombie, you may find yourself bleeding, and it will say here that you are bleeding. Then you can use bandages to bandage yourself, which will stop the bleeding, or you can tear up your shirt into rags. You do this by dragging your shirt into your inventory, and it will give you an option to turn it into rags, which you can bandage yourself with. Now, fighting players is a lot different to fighting zombies. Really, it just depends how geared they are. If a bandit has taken you hostage, I highly suggest just doing exactly what they say. If you go against them or try and run away, they will most likely shoot you. When fighting players, you should always communicate first. If you see a player, just say friendly, please respond, and then if they generally don't respond, or if they start trying to kill you or shoot you, then retaliate back. It's good to always try and step around players while hitting them, and try and get around them faster than they can turn. And with your gun, if you're going to shoot players, I would generally do it with sights off if it's a combat situation, unless they're unaware you're there. Just do short bursts to conserve your ammo as much as possible, and the further distance they are away, slowly raise your crosshairs because the bullets will drop over distance. I would generally say if someone attacks you, just run, get into cover or something if they're going to shoot you back, and get in a good position to shoot them, and watch out for people flanking. Just constantly be watching out for other players. Check the player list. So you see there, perfect zombie kill. And to loot bodies, it's hard without seeing a player. You look at them, get close to them, sometimes you have to crouch, and you press the middle mouse button, which will bring up the menu of searching the bodies. When trying to find gear, it's always good to go prone and look underneath things like shelves and like beds. There are items underneath. And also make sure you look on top of like lockers and stuff, because there's always stuff there. Hopefully this tutorial has been somewhat helpful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of my DayZ videos. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have fun playing the DayZ Standalone.